Hello guys, welcome to another video on DMVPN, and we are going to be configuring DMVPN Phase version 3 with IKE version 1 and IPsec, so we can encrypt and provide data confidentiality and data integrity. And in Phase version 3, it is similar to Phase version 2, but in Phase version 3 that we're going to be configuring right now, um, these spokes are going to be they're going to be getting into the NSRP process um, because in DMVPN Phase version 2, they were not doing that. The hub was the one sending those NSRP replies and requests to their spokes, right? So we will send from the spoke, we will send a NSRP request to the hub, and then the hub will send it to the spoke, and then the two spoke would be creating those tunnels. But now, what the hub is going to be doing, it's just going to they're not going to be in it whenever the spoke to spoke tunnel is going to be created. It's just going to go straight to the spoke. Um, okay, so with that being said, the hub is going to not going to get used a lot. It's going to get used a lot less than in Phase version 2. Okay, and that way it reduces um, the the single point of failure that could happen because if the hub goes down, um, then they won't be able to communicate. But in the MVPN Phase version 2 and Phase version 3, it doesn't work like that. If the hub goes down, the spoke-to-spoke tunnels are still going to be there, right? So let's go ahead and start with this configuration. I like to start with the hub, and then we are going to go to spoke 2, spoke 3, and spoke number 4. All right, there we go. So let's start with the configuration. The first thing that I configure is always IKE version 1 Phase 1. So let's go ahead and do that. Crypto, it's going to be crypto ISAKMP policy. We have to create the policy. It's going to be called policy number 10. From here, we have to do the authentication, pressure key, encryption. We are going to use 3DES hashing algorithm. We're going to use not SHA, let's use MD5. And the group number, the Diffie Hellman group number is going to be group number 2. I do not care about the lifetime, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Then after that, we need to configure another thing for phase version for IKE version 1, phase 1, which is the ISAKMP key, right? And that's how we authenticate. So crypto ISAKMP key, DMVPN key, that's what we're going to call it. And the address is going to be any. This means that since since we're going to have a multi-point connection from this single interface, then I want to use this key for any router, right? This key is going to be used for any of these spokes or any router. Okay, that is done. After that is done, we need to go ahead and configure IKE version 1 phase 2. And in phase 2, what we need to configure is we need to configure that T set, that transform set. And then after we configure the transform set, we need to attach that transform set into a profile that I'm going to be configuring, into an IPsec profile, right? So let's go ahead and start with that. You do a crypto IPsec transform set. We are going to call this T set. And from here, we're going to have an ESP with AES 256 encryption and ESP SHA with HMAC. And the mode is going to be a transport mode. Then after that, we need to go ahead and configure a crypto IPsec profile. And we're going to be calling this DNVPN profile. And all we need to do right here is set the transform set. So we need to attach the transform set that we just created, which we call it T set. There we go. That is done. Now I want to do show run pipe section crypto. And since we're going to be using the same key, the same everything, I just want to go ahead and copy this and paste it in all my other routers because we're going to be using the same, and I don't want to waste time configuring all over again. There we go. Config T. Good. Over here too. Config T. Okay, so IKE version 1 phase 1 and IKE version 1 phase 2 has been successfully configured in all the routers. So now what we need to do from the hub is that we need to create that DMVPN tunnel, or the GRE tunnel, whatever you want to call it. So let's go ahead and do that. Interface tunnel 0. The first thing that I want to do is give it an IP address of, as you can see right here, IP address of the tunnel, 192.168.1.1. Okay, that's good. After that is done, we need to do, let's go ahead and do no split or no IP split horizon, ERGRP 10, IP and HRP network ID 10. Then we have to do IP and HRP map multicast, multicast dynamic. Okay, and then after that we need to go ahead and tell it what the source is. The source is gigabit00, which is this one right here. And after that, we need to configure a new command, which is IP and HRP redirect. And what this is going to do is that is going to is what it's going to do is going to inform the spoke that it can communicate to other intended spoke directly. Okay, so whenever they send an NHRP request, instead of sending it to the hub, it's going to send it straight to the spoke, so they can convert or so they can create that spoke to spoke communication. So the hub is not going to be actually doing that NSRP request and reply between the spoke and the hub. It's just going to be doing it between the spoke and spoke. Okay, that's what it means. And then after that, we need to do a tunnel. I believe tunnel GRE or tunnel mode GRE, and it's going to be a multi-point. And then after that's been configured, we need to go ahead and do a tunnel protection IPsec profile, and we need to attach that IPsec profile that we created, and that IPsec profile has the transform set attached to it, and that transform set is the one that tells it how to encrypt the data. There we go, it is on. So we are good to go. Now let's go ahead and start configuring those spokes. Oh, actually, I always forget. Let's go ahead and, before we do that, we need to do the router ERGRP 10, right? That's the one that we set, that's no split horizon, 10. No auto summary, network, and we need to add a couple network. The first one is the loopback address, which is actually acting like a network. And then we need to add the tunnel IP address. Done. Let's go ahead and go to the spoke 2, interface tunnel 0. And then after we do that, let's go ahead and configure we need to go ahead and configure the IP address, which is 192.168.1.2. There we go. After we do that, we need to do an IP, NHRP, network ID 10, IP NHRP, map, and we need to map the hub, .1.1. This is the hub logical IP address, or the IP address of the tunnel. And then after that, we need to do the NVMA. Did I do it right? Let's see. Actually, we do not need to create a map. What we need to do is we need to tell it where the next hop server is. And the next hop server is 192.168.1.1. And the NVMe address of this next hop server which is the hub, is going to be the NBMA address, which is this one right here, which is the IP address of that gigabit interface, 192.168, not 168.1.10.1, and this one's going to be a multicast. Okay. Now we need to go ahead and create the tunnel source, and the tunnel source for this one is going to be gigabit 00, and then we need to go ahead and do an IP NSRP shortcut. And the shortcut is responsible to rewrite the CEF entry after getting the redirect message from the hub. So whenever the hub sends that redirect message to the spoke, what is going to happen is that since we configure this shortcut, what it's going to tell us is that now the spoke is responsible to rewrite the CEF entry after getting the redirect message from the hub. Okay. So that it is done. Now we need to do IP mode GRE multipoint. Then it froze a little bit. Multi IP. Did I do this right? It's not IP, it's tunnel mode and GRE multipoint. There we go. And then we do a tunnel protection, IPsec, and we need to attach the profile, which is called the DMVPN profile. There we go. Now ISAKMP was off and now it is back on. Great. So let's go ahead and do a router, ERGRP 10, because we need to have the same autonomous system, the same as the hub and the same as all the other spokes. So now out of summary, network, we need to add both two networks, the loopback address and network 192.168.1.0, which is the IP address of the interface of the tunnel interface, right? Okay, you can see here your P is up. We have a neighbor relationship with 192.168.1.1, which is the hub. Great. Now let's go ahead and configure IPs. We have to configure the spoke number 3 and do basically the same. IP address 192.168.1.3/24. IP NSRP network ID 10 IP NSRP NHS 192.168.1.1 NBMA 192.1.10.1, and then we need to call this a multicast. And that means the multicast means that whenever we get a multicast packet like ERGRP packet, we are going to send it to the hub, right? Okay, so after that is done, we need to do an IP, or we do a tunnel mode GRE multipoint, and then we do a tunnel source, and the tunnel source is going to be gigabit 00. Let's see what else we have. We got to do the IP NSRP shortcut, of course, and then the IP or tunnel protection IPsec. We're going to use a profile, and the profile name is this, the DMVPN profile. You can see ISAKMP is now on. Great. Now let's go ahead and configure ERGRP or router ERGRP 10 no auto summary network network 3.3.3.3 255.255.255, and then network 192.168.1.0 255. Good. That should create a neighbor relationship with the hub, as you can see. And if we go to the hub and we do a show IP NSRP, you can see that now we have two dynamic tunnels, or two hub to spoke tunnel. One it's via 192.168.1.2, which is spoke 2. That is the IP address of the tunnel, and this one is the NBMA IP address, which is the IP address of the interface. Okay, and then we have another one, 192.168.1.3, which is the tunnel IP address of the spoke number 3. You can see the NBMA IP address which is 192.1.30.1. Okay, and if we do a show IP EIGRP or show IP route EIGRP, you can see that um, we have two networks, and they are both via the tunnel. You can see right here, they're both going. This one is 2.2.2.2, which is going to 192.168.1.2, the IP address of the tunnel spoke 2, and then 192.168.1.3, which is the IP address of that tunnel. So they are both going to be hopping on the tunnel whenever you want to get to these two IP addresses. Okay. Now let's go ahead and configure spoke number 3, tunnel 0. Do an IP address, of course, the first thing that you want to do. That 1.4. Then do IP NSRP network ID 10 IP NSRP NHS .1.1 MBMA 192.1.10.1 multicast. Do IP NSRP shortcuts. I think that we are done with those NSRPs. After that is configured, we need to go ahead and configure the tunnel mode GRE multipoint. Multipoints means that we are going to have multiple connections in that single interface, okay? And then tunnel protection IPsec profile. And we need to attach a profile. I think I have it because it's going to be the same. There we go. I forgot one more. Tunnel source gigabit 00. There we go. Now the tunnel is on, ISAKMP is on. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do a router, EIGRP, autonomous system 10, no auto summary, network ID 4.4.4.4, 255.255.255.255, network 192.168.1.0, 255, which you form an error relationship with the hub. There it is. The hub indicates that, and now we can see that if we do a show IPNSRP, we should have an extra one, which is spoke number 4, 192.168.1.4 is that logical IP address of that tunnel, and then we have the MBMA IP address, which is the IP address of that spoke 4 interface. And if we do a show IP route EIGRP, you can see that we have another route 24.4.4.4 via 192.168.1.4, which is the tunnel. You can see right here, tunnel 0. Okay, so we have configure every time we want it. If you do a show crypto ISAKMP SA, you can see that we have 3 tunnels connection. So we have a connectivity with them. So what I want to do is, let's go ahead and do actually show IP NSRP. You can see that we have those. Let's go to spoke 3 and show IP NSRP. You can see that we only have one tunnel created, but after I ping the spoke 2 from spoke 3, I should be able to create another tunnel, which is a spoke to spoke tunnel. The only tunnel that I have right now is the hub to spoke, as you can see right here. So let's go ahead and ping spoke 2. You can see right there. Now if you go to spoke number 2 and we do show IP NSRP, you can see now that we have 3 tunnels. The first one is 2.192.168.1.2, which is where this network is. So we created a dynamic tunnel, and you can see that. Oh, actually, this is my bad. This is the a local tunnel. So this is for spoke 2. Yeah, because we are in spoke 2. So the one that we created was this one right here, 192.168.1.3, because we pinged from spoke 3. So we have a spoke to spoke tunnel right here, and we reach it via 192.1.30.1. And you can see that is a router next hop, and it was a dynamic one. This one was a static because we manually created a spoke to hub communication, right? And if we go to the spoke, we should have something similar. So IP and SRP. There we go. We have the 1, 2 2.2.2.2, dynamically created. And then you can see that we have another one, which is the static one to the hub, right? Then we create another one, which is a dynamic one with 192.168.1.2, which is spoke to. It was dynamically created. That means that we did not manually create it. And then you can also see another one, which is the unique local one. Okay, let's try to ping spoke 2 from spoke 4, and that should create another one. You can see right here that we only have 1, 2, 3 tunnels, but now we should have more. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tunnels, and that's because we created another tunnel with spoke number 4. There we go, a dynamic tunnel, right? Good, good beans, right? Now let's go ahead and do show crypto ISAKMP SA. You can see all the connection that we have. Over here, we have from spoke 2, we have our own connection, right? Destination, source. Then we have another one with the hub, and you can see all the other ones, okay? And then if you do a show crypto IPsec SA, this one for phase version 2, you can see everything we have right here. The local identity and the remote identity of that tunnel. You can see the current peer, and this one means it's 192.1.40.1 on port 500. This is for spoke number 4 that we have created, and we have only sent one packet there. So let's go ahead and see if we ping again, what happens. Oops, let's put that back in there. And if we do show crypto SA, you can see that we receive more packets. And if we do repeat 100, you can see it over here that we should have more packets being encrypted and decrypted. There we go. Now we have 106 because we sent 100 packets. So they were both encrypted and decrypted. You can see that it is working. And if you do a debug crypto engine packet, you can see that the packets are being encrypted. And it is running right now because ERP keeps sending packets between the routers so they know when the router is down or when the router is up. You can see right here. And if you do a ping to repeat 100, you can see that we're going to get a lot more. You can see it right here. Okay, so if you do an on all to stop the debugging, on all, that's going to stop the debugging, but we're still encrypting and decrypting packets because we actually sent 100 of them, right? Another one that you could do is a show IP DMVPN, right? Or show DMVPN. Where's the stat? Show DMVPN detail. You can see the detail of the DMVPN communication. You can see that from spoke 4, you can see that we actually have 2 connections to spoke number 2, the source. You can see the destination. On that destination, you can see the NBMA IP address. You can see the IP address of the tunnel, and you can see the attributes DT2, and you can see the network that you're going to reach when you get to this tunnel. And when you go to this tunnel, to the same NBMA IP address, to the same tunnel, you can see that this is the way that we reach this interface. And then you can see that static um, communication between the spoke and the hub. You see the NBMA IP address, and you see the IP address of the tunnel, and you can see that it was configured statically. And then we have another one, which is the local one. You can see that DLX means that it is the local tunnel. So this is it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learn a lot on this video. And if you guys did learn a lot, why don't you just go ahead and follow me? Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at CCNA Daily Tips. And if you don't have a Twitter account, go ahead and create one and then follow me on Twitter, guys. Okay, and I want to thank everybody that has subscribed to my channel. I have 667 subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. And if you haven't seen my other videos on how to configure DMVPN Phase 1, DMVPN Phase 2, it is being uploaded right now. It has been uploaded, so I'm just going to publish that. And then tomorrow, I'm just going to go ahead and publish this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. I love you. Bye-bye.